Well, sources close to Governor Newsom say he's growing so confident that he's going to beat the recall against him that he may actually call for an early vote on the special election. So here now to talk about this, the chairman from Reform California, Carl Demaio. Carl, good to see you tonight.
Thanks for having me on, Ginger.
Well, let's start with the obvious question. Is the governor the one who decides when this vote is taken?
No, but the Democrat Party, which is controlled by the governor, they're going to decide the timing. And there are a number of Democrats that are saying, hey, Gavin, you're in a great position. The economy is doing so well, and you got things reopened, and you're getting all this favored coverage in the media. You just gave out all this money. No time like the present. Call the election. Let's get it over with. I think that the real reason why Newsom may be thinking about an early election has nothing to do with his confidence that he could beat the recall or that he's confident that California is in good shape. I think it has more to do with he wants to deprive us, the Yes on Recall campaign, the time we need to build up our organization, to raise money from the grassroots. By cutting off that lead time, he does hamper our ability to compete. But make no mistake about it, Newsom knows that he's not out of the woods. This is not something that he thinks he's got in the bag. He's doing this, if he does an early election, only to cut into the lead time that our grassroots campaign would have.
So what kind of, earliness are we talking about? Because I know originally it was supposed to be anywhere from October to December.
Correct. The original time frame that the Democrats had established, and they like having a long, drawn out process because they always like to delay things and hope that things get better. The early election could actually be as early as late August or early September, which would mean that voters would start getting ballots the first week of August. That doesn't give us a whole lot of time, but we are prepared for whatever timetable the governor and his political cronies decide is to their advantage. The reality is this. You have the governor racing around the state, giving out a bunch of free money, taxpayer money nonetheless, trying to bribe people into voting for him, in essence, giving out free rent, giving out cash subsidies, giving out college savings accounts. Most of those people who are getting the money, I think, are smart enough to realize that this is their own money. And $500, is that going to satisfy someone who's unemployed? Or $600 for a kid for a college account, even though they've lost a full year of schooling? It certainly does not make up for the damage he's caused. And so I think that the governor is in a very precarious position. What benefits him is the liberal media in California trying to advance this fairy tale that the California economy is rebounding and that things are good. It's not good. The misery index is pretty high in California, so high that many Californians are literally packing up and leaving for states that handled COVID-19 much more thoughtfully.
Yeah, I interviewed the mayor of Las Vegas yesterday. They're 100% open. So many states changing that arbitrary date to reopen, except us here in California. Apparently, the virus is very different here. Curious, do you think if there were someone on the ballot like an Arnold Schwarzenegger, do you think that would woo more people? Or is it the fact that nobody's really gravitating to one single candidate that Gavin Newsom's team is saying, hey, you're going to beat this?
That's a good question, because people keep looking at this recall and comparing it to the 2003 recall against then Governor Gray Davis. And when Schwarzenegger got into the recall race very late in the process, the recall numbers shot up. Here's why I don't think we need a Arnold Schwarzenegger candidate with a big name ID on the ballot. Ultimately, recalls are won by those that turn out. It's a special election. And so Newsom is in a precarious position. And the polls, I don't trust the polls. And here's why. In the recall process, people who don't like the governor are more motivated to show up than people who like the governor. And when you look at Newsom's support, it's very soft. Democrats are not, jumping for joy. They're not enthusiastic about Newsom. A lot of the polling shows that some of those Democrats say, yeah, I'm going to vote to keep him, but they're not really excited. They're not motivated. Whereas the people who are saying they want to vote to remove Gavin Newsom, they will crawl across broken glass to get their hands on those ballots to vote against Gavin Newsom. And so that's why in this election, I think it's different than 2003. There's a lot more motivation on the yes on recall side. I think Newsom's base is pretty demoralized and pretty apathetic. So that's what we're banking on, is mobilizing our base, working hard, whether it's 45 days from now or 80 days from now, whenever the election actually starts in earnest. We've got to work hard, organize statewide, and get volunteers to deliver our message.
All right, Carl Demaio, I know we'll stay in touch. We'll be curious to see what the next chapter has in the California recall of Gavin Newsom. Thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.